Prime Minister of the UK, Jeremy Corbyn.
Jeremy Corbyn's first big speech of the campaign, he cast himself as fighting for the ordinary folk against a conspiracy of the rich and powerful.
Much of the media and the establishment are saying this election is a foregone conclusion. They think there are rules in politics which, if you don't follow by doffing your cap to the powerful people, accepting that things can't really change, then you can't win. But of course, they do not want us to win, because when we win, it is the people, not the powerful, who win. If I were Southern Rail, or if I were Philip Green, I'd be worried about a Labour government. I really would. If I were Mike Ashley, or the CEO of a tax-avoiding multinational corporation, I'd want to see a Tory victory. I really would. Why? Because those are the people who are monopolising the wealth that should be shared by each and every one of us in the whole country.
He had this response to a reporter's question about opinion polls that suggest he's leading Labour to a crushing defeat.
You very helpfully mentioned the opinion polls, and I'm really grateful to you for that. It was really kind of you, and I'm really pleased about that. All I can say is, in 2015, almost exactly 2 years ago, I was given 200 to 1 as an outside chance.
That, of course, was in a vote of Labour Party members. And Theresa May, visiting a radar factory in the Labour-held marginal Enfield North, believes she has the pulse of the wider electorate.
This election is about ensuring that we have strong and stable leadership in this country in the national interest. It's about strengthening our negotiating hand for Brexit.
Theresa May's focus was Brexit. She wants to own the Brexit vote from last year's referendum in the same way that the SNP came to own huge chunks of the ex-Labour voters and others who voted for Scottish independence in that referendum. Jeremy Corbyn largely ignored Brexit, although he did set a hair running for part of today by refusing to rule out a second referendum on EU membership.
What we saw from Jeremy Corbyn this morning was his refusal to rule out the possibility of a second referendum over Brexit. That's wrong.
Insiders say it was John McDonnell, the Shadow Chancellor, who was trying to keep the second referendum option open, worried that Labour Remain voters didn't have enough incentive to stick with the party. Hours later, the leadership emphatically ruled out a second referendum.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
The Green Party launched their campaign with their own bid for unhappy Remain voters.
We've got a government here that's listened to UKIP, and UKIP has said jump and the government has said how high. We are the antidote to UKIP.
Jeremy Corbyn today talked of bosses who leech off workers who bust their guts. He's reprising Labour's last election campaign, championing the people against establishment forces, but the fighting talk has been ratcheted up.
Well, many Labour MPs who are seeking to defend their seats in the forthcoming election are famously less than enthusiastic about Jeremy Corbyn's leadership. But some of them, particularly in traditional Labour strongholds in the north of England, have a second problem. They campaigned in favour of Britain remaining in the EU, while the majority of their constituents voted to leave. Our political correspondent Michael Crick reports from Bolton.
Thank you.
Last night, Theresa May came to this parish hall in Lancashire.
Thank you for that great northwestern welcome.
Starting her campaign in Bolton North East, a seat Labour kept by almost 4,500 votes 2 years ago.
It's a choice between strong and stable leadership under the Conservatives or weak and unstable coalition of chaos led by Jeremy Corbyn.
Party leaders in elections tell us a lot about their strategy by the places they go to. 2 years ago, David Cameron began in Chippenham, a Lib Dem seat at the start of the Tories' highly successful campaign to wipe out the Liberal Democrats in the west of England. And by coming to Bolton North East yesterday, Theresa May was putting Labour on notice that they intend to do to Jeremy Corbyn's party what they did to Nick Clegg's in 2015. This statue in Bolton Town Centre to a past Conservative mayor is a reminder the Tories were once strong in working-class mill towns like this. This afternoon we dropped in on the Bolton Scrabble Club. How did May score? And Corbyn and Nuttall and Farron in a borough which voted 58% Brexit.
So what did you all think when suddenly on Tuesday Theresa May announced this election?
Very clever of you.
A very astute move for the Conservative Party, not necessarily for the country.
Not for the country, just for her. Yeah,
I thought, not again. I'm sick of voting.
Jeremy Corbyn has to be at a big disadvantage because she comes across as a more powerful leader.
Whereas Theresa May?
Very, very small. She could come out in a bin bag for me and I think she would still be strong. I don't want her to come out in a body bag, just a bin bag.
I'll be voting the same way as I've voted every time, that's Labour.
And you'd be happy to see Jeremy Corbyn as Prime Minister?
Well, Jeremy Corbyn, I think his heart's in the right place. He just needs to be more of a leader.
What about Paul Nuttall? Have you? He's the leader of UKIP.
Is he? Didn't know that.
He sort of he repeats the things that Farage has said, but he's not got that presence.
On Corbyn, even this local bigwig struggles to sell him as PM.
But do you see him as a Prime Minister? You yourself?
He's my Labour leader and I'm going to support him, and I think people can grow into jobs. So, and I think in the Labour Party, you know...
It's not much of an endorsement, is it?
I want a Labour Prime Minister, and if winning this election and Jeremy Corbyn's the Prime Minister, I will support him.
But if the Tories do take Bolton North East, the 5% swing it would take could threaten at least 40 of Labour's other seats too.
Well, some more intriguing news tonight. The challenger for the leadership of the Unite Union, Jeremy Corbyn, has been suspended from his existing post pending an investigation into what are being described as certain issues. Well, let's go live now to Michael Crick, who joins us from Bolton. Michael, what do you know?
Well, this suspension of Gerard Corbyn couldn't come at a more extraordinary time. The voting closed in the leadership ballot after several weeks. Only yesterday, they haven't even started counting the votes yet. But it's still not clear why Mr Corbyn exactly has been suspended. It was a hugely acrimonious campaign, which many people saw really as another attempt to topple Jeremy Corbyn by proxy, as it were, with Mr McCluskey being a great supporter of Mr Corbyn and Gerard Corbyn being a great critic. And during the course of the campaign, Len McCluskey accused Gerard Corbyn of lies, smears and innuendos, threatened legal action against his campaign newspaper and accused Mr Corbyn of consorting with Labour MPs from the West Midlands, where he is the regional organiser, in attempts to, at a conspiracy really, against Jeremy Corbyn. Now, so it's looking like the actual ballot, where we'll get the results sometime next week, probably Len McCluskey is going to win that election again, and that Mr Corbyn's attempt to topple him has failed. So it could well be that not only has he failed to get the top job, but he could end up losing his existing job as well.